Hey everybody, hope everybody's having a good day. So I was going to do a little deeper dive into the Makita Chain Mortiser. Using my 7104 today, and what I'm going to use it for is, this is going to be a principal rafter. I'm going to go through and mortise. So I've already gone through and pre-cut my lines as far as with my circular saw. I had a bind here with the knot. For some reason it bound up here, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I've got my circular saw, I've cut my edges. That's going to prevent any tear out. So anytime you're working with these tools, if you've worked with a wood rider before, if you burst through on the back or right at the edge, you can get tear out very badly sometimes. So I went ahead and cut that down here. It's hard to see, but I went ahead and took my chisel and went in on that with the chisel. Hopefully that's going to prevent any tear out here. I went in pretty deep, so I shouldn't get any. If I do, it's going to be very minor, but not expecting any. Now, my principal rafter housing needs to be 4 inches deep. All right, so it needs to be 4 inches in this, and I'm going to have to take a 2-inch section off of this for the rafter housing itself. So not just tenon, but the actual housing for the rafter. It's going to be a 2-inch notch. It's going to sit on top of that, and it's going to be a tenon that goes in approximately 4 inches beyond those two. So 4 plus 2, 6. So my rough depth of cut is going to be 6 inches with that Makita Chain Mortiser today. So let me go ahead and get that up. I moved the generator as far off as I can, so hopefully we won't get too much noise from it. But that'll also let you know this is running off a Briggs & Stratton generator I got. It was one of the more expensive ones. We needed it to run a sump pump at our old house, so it is, I think it was like $350 at the time or something like that. So a little bit bigger, but still just a regular old generator. So again, if you're concerned about these chain mortisers, the difference in voltage, etc., and hertz being a concern, I have run this off generators for years. So, well, not this one. I've only had this one for about a year, but my 7100B, I've run it off of one for years. So let me go ahead and get this up here and get it mounted, and we'll get started. There we go. Okay. All right. So I've got it in position. I've got it clamped. A couple of things here. This is designed to help you move. Notice the clamp is still in place. This allows me to move the position of where I'm actually mortising. So it allows me to, without having to adjust this in any way, mortise down, and then I can adjust the position of the head so I can mortise another one with essentially the flip of this lever. So a couple of points of advice if you get one, from my experience. You want to start, notice the lever side, you want to start on the lever side, mortise, and then work your way back. Okay, and let me explain. So when I do this, you notice I'm adjusting this lever. This is turning this screw here, and that's adjusting the position of the head. All right, so where I'm going to mortise at. Well, the problem with that is if I start on this side, so if I started on this back from your perspective and then brought it across, this ledge right here sometimes will catch on your tear out, and you can't really slide it back across to get to the next section, or you kind of have to pull it across that tear out, or tear it, go in and chisel it out, or loosen your actual chain mortiser and then physically move it. So it's just easier to start on that side and work your way, start on the lever side and work away from it. All right, so a couple of pieces of advice there from my experience. That's just made it easier for me. All right, this lever, you can't really see it, but this is the one to actually do the clamp. You can't really see on the perspective here, but you see a spring in this little here, this lever here. That's going to allow you to go through and loosen this, where you can adjust the width of your clamp there. So right here, This is going to move the head, get it in position where I need to for plunging. This is going to allow me a quick change, or a quicker change, without having to loosen or spin anything. I can just go through and get those. All right, so it makes it a little easier to use without having to reclamp, adjust, and shift everything. Now, it does have a measure here that's in centimeters. It's in metric. Darn it, they didn't land on the moon, so I guess they stuck with the easy system. But it works pretty effectively. Your zero over on this side is usually going to be pretty close to the edge of your chain. In this case, due to this being the end of my timber here, I'm not able to cut all the way down or clamp all the way to the edge there. Just simply put, it wouldn't be able to clamp properly, so I'm getting about as close as I can, and the rest of it I'll just get with the chisel. All right, so I've got everything set up. I've got this roughly lined up using this with my saw cut, so I'm ready to start plunging. Next thing I need to do is set my depth. Again, I'm going 6 inches. Now for this thing, that's about max depth. I think it'll do about 6 1/8 or something like that according to Makita's site, but I'm going to let it down. Over here, I've got this little adjustable section here. So I need to do, come in with my tape. Come on, work with me. And set that to about 6 inches. Again, I don't believe this plunges much deeper than 6, but I'm going to set it at that anyway. That's the proper way to do this. So for y'all watching, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so my depth of cut is set. Raise it back up. With that, safety squints on, dust protection, hearing protection, and let's start getting this done. This is not a speed run, by the way. I'm just doing this to show y'all. So let's get it done. All right, well, that's that. Like I said, I have to come in and take out this piece. That's not going to be too hard because this is going to be slanted up here anyway. I've got to cut from my roof pitch and then clean up the bottom. You're going to have cups in the bottom because this is not perfectly flat. But other than that, that's it. Again, this helps you shift it from front to back, and as you saw when I was trying to shift it back this way for my middle cut, you saw where it was a little bit difficult. I kind of had to work with it some to get it back over here. Didn't follow my own advice in that instance. Just thought it was a little quick one. I wouldn't, keep adjusting it or do multiple adjustments. But other than that, it's a pretty easy and straightforward piece to go through and utilize. And the 7100B operates very similar. The clamping mechanism is different on it, but still same width and general operation. It has a different adjuster lever to go through and move the head, so it still has that. So for those of you concerned about it, it still has those. The only thing that it does not have is the ability to tilt the head. So this one I can go through and get 2 cuts from one clamp position, not counting the quick adjust here. So with this I can get 4 cuts on 2 different, or excuse me, 2 cuts on 2 different rows, so 4 cuts total. So this is a big time saver. The other option is using auger bits and things like that. I'm not knocking it. There are people who do those. I just simply don't have the time between my day job and yard maintenance and housework and everything else, like the rest of us. I just don't have the time to do it. So I use power tools where they make sense. Again, the 7100B is a big time saver over manual to me. I've done time tests with myself, and it's a substantial upgrade. This I was not intending to get one. I got such a deal on this one, that's why I picked up the 7104. I got this for just a little over $500 shipped to my door, whereas the 7100B went for in the $400 to $450 range. So it was worth it to me. I looked at it, I'm like, I can sell this thing for more than I got in it. Same way, again, you can buy those older tools and the price loss is already baked in. You can sell them for probably what you have in them. So don't be scared of them, other than just the on-off switch over here on the handle. Other than that, they're good tools. Chainsaw oil, I don't use it extremely often, just a light coat of chainsaw oil on the chain. You can sharpen these. Look at my other video about sharpening them. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and clean this up and get ready for the next cut. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.